A classical education it's taking you to a transcendent place, and even I think most Catholic schools don't really go there. So many Catholic high schools, unfortunately, are more swayed by the culture than they are by the church. But Montfort is faithful to the church regardless of what the culture says, and I know they always will be. For my children, I know that placing them within just a typical environment, like a public school, or even a normal Catholic high school, is not the formation that they should receive, whereas in the 40s it might have been. But the values that Montfort is committed to are the principles of virtue, of real character formation, of authentic intellectual development, of the right spiritual formation. That cannot be said of your typical high school scenario, even within the Catholic school environment in 2021. That is what's going to allow my children to receive the type of high school formation that every young person needs to be able to resist the temptations of our modern society and to receive the tools and the inspiration to remain faithful to what is most important. Montfort is a community that is directed towards God and allows itself to be guided by God. That's the environment that I want my children to be in when they're not home, when they're being educated. The experience of high school, which should be a great experience, it was for me. I know it was for my brother, and it's not always that way. So many young people today say they hate school, they hate high school, or looking back on it, they say it was a terrible time for them. I think that's because so many schools are not committed to the right things. They're not committed to the values that Montfort espouses itself to as an institution, as a community, and those values of virtue, integrity, holiness, compassion, wisdom, charity. These are the qualities that I want my children to be around during their formative years.
I remember as a student in Katona, when the school had 20, 30, 40 students maybe in the whole school, there was this mission of we're training you to cultivate your body, mind, and soul. And it's something that I even remember to this day, and something that I've carried with me from that experience. And it's a unifying mission that was in the school from the very beginning, and as you said, is still there, very much so now. That mission has not changed, and it's something for me. I remember walking down to Mass every morning, 8 o'clock. In Katona to St. Mary's Church, and it wasn't required of us, but there was this environment, as you said, of just cultivating your faith, and there was this encouragement that I felt deep inside me that okay, if I want to become the man that God wants me to be, I'm going to make the sacrifice and walk down to Mass every morning.
Chaput is saying, and Pope Francis is saying, that this is what true friendship is about. This is what
being educated here and having the experience of Montfort for high school, it taught me how to recognize good people and go towards them. It taught me how to recognize great teachers and go towards them. It taught me how to recognize great experiences and opportunities and go towards them.
Something I would always tell people is that when I first visited Montfort, and you were 2 years ahead of me at the time in Katona, and I remember going there, and I just had a blast. I had a blast meeting your friends, and I remember coming into Montfort, I was the cooler freshman because I knew all the upperclassmen from that, and there's something that's continued to today. And when I came back to teach, I would tell other teachers, the students you have at Montfort are some of the best students you're going to have really anywhere. And there's this dynamic where students want to be here because their classmates are so friendly, and there's this community where you see it from freshmen through seniors are all talking to each other. So there's also this formation with each other.
You can't underestimate how important those years are, those high school years of forming the people they become and the peers that they will spend their time with, and of course their teachers, who are always outstanding at Montfort. Their teachers were brilliant people themselves, and so there comes a point where a parent can teach just so much, and then you hope they get a teacher like the ones that they had. And thanks to the Socratic method also, but they expanded their thinking. They didn't just stay at, the other high schools would stay at one place, but at Montfort they were able to talk about things that were related to what they were learning, and that makes great minds, that makes them great contributors to society later on, so they can problem solve and help others ultimately.
They take you to an ordinary place. They take you to the normal, regular place of, the empirical world and the data of things as we can understand them. But the classical education at Montfort, incorporating philosophy, not just religious studies, but authentic Catholic theology.
I know when we were looking for a high school for him, and we went to an open house, and the music teacher had played a regular
Charles
music.
Rigliano.
Maybe it was
sure.
a piece of rock and roll, I don't remember, and then he played the Regina Celli, and he explained how the Regina Celli music of that caliber brings out the goodness, the God in you, the goodness in you. Your intellect and your soul responds to it compared to other types of music. And I turned to the woman sitting next to me, who I didn't know at the time, but we all became friends very, very quickly once our children started going to Montfort. And we both looked at each other, and we both had tears in our eyes. And we said, this was an answer to our prayers, because it was the whole feel we were getting for the school, and we knew that this is what we wanted for our sons, and that they were going to be not just in a good place, but in a great place that was going to help them to learn and to love learning, but to also get them to heaven.